What's goody in the hoodie? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Tresor. We're in a very different place right now. With a very familiar face. If you guys are OGs,
I'm not that familiar, but
well, I mean, he's been on the channel before.
That was like 6 years
like
ago.
A long time ago, bro. Have you seen that? I like stumbled upon it.
I look
recently.
young as hell. I don't even have a full beard at that point,
bro. I'm already skinny, and I was skinnier than I already am. But we have Mr KOA in the building, you guys. If they don't know who you are, quick synopsis of the many things that you do.
Listen, I have this down pat now. Super simple, super clean. My name is Ryan, also known as Mr KOA, and I create visually appealing things for a living. That's it. I now live in Los Angeles, Toronto / Mississauga / Scarborough, born and raised. And yeah, this is my first full year living in Los Angeles, actually, as of like 3 weeks ago.
That's crazy. Congratulations on that.
Yeah.
And that's what I really wanted to talk about in this video for y'all is moving from Toronto to LA, like the ins and outs and the process of that. So I think there's so many different aspects that we could attack this from. But firstly, I think we're going to start with just like, why did you want to make that move? Like, is it something that you always wanted to do, or did you come out here and you kind of just felt the vibe?
So funny enough, LA was the first place I went to after I quit my full-time job. So I quit my day job February 2018. So to this month, 5 years ago, I quit my full-time job. And I actually never been to LA at that time. So LA was what I used as, I guess, my motivation to quit. Because at my day job, I was like, you know what? All-Star Weekend was coming up at that time. There was NBA All-Star was in LA.
Oh, that's lit.
And I was like, I got to be there. I've never been to LA, but if I'm going to go, this is the time to go. LA, All-Star Weekend, I got to be there. And I basically bought my ticket to LA first before quitting my job.
Damn.
So I was like, for whatever reason, if I back out and I feel like I'm scared,
you can't.
I'm going on that trip.
Yeah.
And you know, when you have a boss, if you're like, you have a trip, you gotta, ask in advance or whatever. So I'm like, I know my boss wouldn't let me take that trip. So I'm like, either I quit my job or when that day comes, I'm telling my boss, hey, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. So I bought a ticket. And so the first time I came out here was February. Loved it, obviously. I mean, again, All-Star Weekend is elevated. It's not normal LA.
Yeah.
Everyone's here. It's like Caribbean in Toronto. Like, that's not normal Toronto. You know
I'm moving to Toronto. Yeah. It's like this every weekend.
That's not really Toronto, but it's still a great city, So, but that gave me the opportunity to like do all the things, Hollywood, Venice, all the fun stuff that are on the list. And I just fell in love with LA. Obviously the weather, being from Canada, the weather ain't it.
It's like negative 30 degrees this weekend.
I don't want to hear none of that.
That's crazy.
I don't want to hear none of that.
I can't relate.
But yeah, so LA was the first target on my list. And over the years, what I do for a living, I do photography and video and branding for athletes and celebrities and stuff like that. A lot of my clients and work was in LA. So I have to come back out here for different things. And every time I came out here, I would stay for like maybe 5 days or 6 days. And I was like, every time I went back to Toronto, I'm just like, that wasn't long enough. Like, it just felt like it was never long enough. So I was like, you know what? Like at some point, I'm like, I gotta move out here. So I think like, over the years, like bits and pieces I would learn about LA, like it's not something you can do on a whim. It's not something you just pick up and say move to LA. Like it's definitely something.
I feel like a lot of people do that, but do you think
and they die out here, not literally, but they struggle out here because you can't just do that. It's not a place where you can just.
But also, do you think it's different because we're coming from a different country is harder because
you talking about the moving part?
Like just like picking up and moving to LA. Because I do know a few people that said like. They moved here with like $200 in their pocket and a suitcase. And like from thinking of coming from a different country, that sounds insane.
But when they say moved here, like legally, or they just came out here? Because those are
not from Canada, like Americans moved from their city.
That's the thing. Yeah,
here.
That's easier. Remember, that's easier though.
Yeah,
that's like me and you saying, I'm moving to Hamilton.
Yeah,
like it's within your region. Like okay, fine, I'm moving to BC or Ottawa. Like we can easily move to different Canadian cities if we want to. You know what I mean? So it's definitely much easier to pick up. I mean, it's still tough, but it's definitely much easier to pick up and move to LA from within the States than internationally. It's way harder for Canadians to do that. So yeah, I mean, especially if you're born and raised in the States, like I always say, me and my cousin say like, yo, if we were born here, we'd be up.
My God.
We'd be
I don't even know. Do you know how many times I've said that if I just
we'd be
lived here
for school, for fucking socials, like we'd be up. Like, you know what I mean? So
because like there's more people in California than all of Canada. the population.
That
just
and,
the one state
and
alone.
I'm not even saying just California. I mean, just even if we grew up in the States, like you would have friends in Cali and just go visit your boys in Cali.
Yeah,
like the same way you just go
yeah.
visit someone in Brampton or whatever, different city. Like I would just be like, I'm checking my boy in.
Staying with him.
Yeah, like whatever. So
and then you're trying to get a place. Let's get a place.
That's what I'm saying. So it's
here
just
in LA.
it's so much easier. So to do that part. So I feel like, you know, the transition, at least for me, I didn't have. I mean, I'm here by myself. You guys see, it's me. You know, so it's definitely a transition. But LA was absolutely on the list. It's the hub, bro. It's the mecca of Hollywood. It's the mecca of creators. Why would I not want to be out here? You know.
So do you think after your first year here, do you think you're gonna stay here, or would you go to a different city like Atlanta or Houston or something like that?
I think LA for what I'm doing is probably the perfect place for what I'm doing, especially because I'm a traveling, you know, creator. So if I need projects in Atlanta or, you know, Miami or whatever, I just go. I'll fly there for however long
Tickets
and do
way
it.
Cheaper.
I don't know, and yeah, the tickets are cheaper. But I think from what I'm doing specifically, everything I can get to is in LA. It's a perfect hub. LAX flies everywhere around the world if I need to go somewhere. I think it's easier, at least for me and how social I am, for me to build my network here in LA. Like, you know, there's a pretty good Black community I'm already kind of growing part of. I think, Atlanta is definitely possible. I've been a few times. I just didn't feel, personally, it's not for everybody, but I didn't feel like this is where I want to create. You know, I feel like this is cool. There's a lot of Black people around, but I feel like when I'm in LA, the weather, the things around, things nearby, and being in, like, everyone comes here, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Atlanta and those places are dope, of course, but at the end of the day, everyone anybody who's doing something creative or in the spaces that we're in, they come here. You know, when the events are, Grammy Week is here. Like, these things happen here all the time annually. So, like, it's always a place to connect with new people. And there's most people in LA, at least now, since I've been here, a lot of them are imports. So, like, you're meeting people that aren't even from LA here anyway. So I don't have to be in other cities to do those type of things, you know, for me.
So you already had like a clientele out here before you moved, or did you move first?
I had people I worked with over the years.
You had like consistent work already.
It wasn't consistent though. So I mean, I'm an entrepreneur, so nothing is really consistent. But it was there's to be successful as an entrepreneur, you have to have a little bit of faith, a little bit of crazy, and a little bit of fact. You know what I mean? I think you have to have all of those things. Fact is good to be like, oh, I know for a fact I'm gonna make this. If I go here, this is what's gonna happen. This is where I'm gonna be. That's good to have, definitely. But there's also a huge level that is just unknown. There's a huge level I had no idea what was gonna happen when I got here. I mean, I can tell the story now because it's done now. But when I got here, bro, I wasn't technically supposed to be out here the way I was. Like, I'm not sure if I told you a story about getting blocked at the border and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, like I jumped through some hoops of fire.
What happened for the people that had never heard that story?
So my story coming to LA was definitely high anxiety, high stress. I essentially started my plan last summer. So, the summer before last. Damn, it's already been a year and a half. So the summer before last summer, which is summer 2021, right? I came out here for 3 months, and I was like, I'm gonna go to LA, stay for a couple months, and just network heavy. Like, I just literally came out here just to network. I went to all the parties.
So let's pause right there. Yeah. So you say you came out here for 3 months. Were you just in B&Bs or in hotels?
At my boy's house.
Oh,
I had a friend here.
You had
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and my cousin lives downtown right now, one of my cousins. So I was, as a friends or cousins, I was just like, I'm just gonna come out here and just chill with my boys and just network. That's all I had.
I think that's a good asset.
100%. 100%.
If you're
paying for shit,
had no one here and you're just staying in a hotel or B&B for
tough.
3 months, that's
tough.
That's some pocket change right there.
Yeah.
Bro.
No, I was staying with a friend of mine, Kyler. So yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna come out there, knock out 3 months, and just network heavy. So I went to every single party. I searched Instagram, everything that's happening. Went to that party. Black on the Block, Black Market Fully, anything Black I was at. All the house parties, all the day parties. Like, I was just showing up everywhere. And I was outside for real, literally outside. But I had to be, because I'm like, I don't know nobody. This is where everyone that I go everywhere. I would just talk to everybody. And I think the biggest thing about this space and being in LA is, like, you don't know who anyone is until you have a conversation with them. You could be standing right now beside a millionaire, and if you don't talk to him, he leaves. You have no idea. So don't ever look at someone and be like, I don't know. Yep, just talk to everyone, bro. You don't know who you're talking to. And I just went to different events. I went to LA Fashion Week, brought my camera there for wasn't working for it. I just brought my camera, and just when I was there, people were like, oh, take pictures of me. Take pictures of a random person, 10 million followers. I don't know who they are.
I think that's honestly a finesse. And I was telling Twist, if you guys don't know, Twist and TC are behind the scenes right now. I was telling Twist, bro, people, I don't know if it's just vanity or whatever, but if you have a camera
in LA,
people want you places. Like they'll bring you around and you'll be accepted anywhere. Lil Baby could be here. And if I'm just here chilling, they'll be like, bro, who is this guy? But if I have a camera, they'll be like, oh, okay. Like,
there's a fine line because some places don't allow cameras in.
Yeah.
It just depends. But if it's anything outdoor, if it's anything like Juneteenth in the summertime, like
that was amazing.
Any of those things, bring your camera out. If you're a photographer or creator, even if you're not like into it, just bring your camera. You're gonna capture something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Here, I think because people are so used to like artistry and creativity, like it's not weird.
No.
You know how you'll go certain places or even back home, people see you with a camera, they look at you like a weirdo. Like what are you recording? Like why are you filming me? Why are you taking pictures?
Here they embrace it. They want to be.
They love it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's essentially what I did back then to kind of network. And then the moving part was I was like, okay, you know what? I'm ready to move out here. Like I got to do this move. So
that was after the 3 months.
That was after 3 months. I was like, okay, I'm because I went back home to Toronto, right? And
how did you feel when you got off the plane after the 3 months?
I hate that shit. I hate landing back in Toronto after being in LA. It's actually the worst feeling when you feel that brisk weather. You're like, why did I even come back? Like, it's the worst feeling. I know you guys are gonna feel when you go back, but it's the worst feeling of getting back and being like, why am I home? Like, why I don't need to be here. So I kept feeling that feeling. So I started planning my move, and the first step, anyone planning to move somewhere, anywhere in the United States, if you're from Canada, look for an immigration lawyer. That's probably number one, because you need to find out what visa works for you, what options there are for you. Like there's so many different types of visas.
I'm in that process.
Yeah, like whatever. If you're a creator, if you're a business, whatever. There's so many different visas. H1, O1, TN. I have an E1. Like there's so much shit. So you have to find out what works for you and save your time, because if you start the visa process and it's the wrong visa process, you gotta start that all over again. If it doesn't apply for you, you put all this work in and it doesn't even apply to you, waste of time. So I would highly advise looking for an immigration lawyer or someone who knows immigration law, so you can be like, okay, what skills do you have? What makes sense for you? Do you have to be hired by somebody? Is someone going to sponsor you? So on and so forth, and just getting educated. So that's what I did first. Once I got that, I found the visas I needed for myself, which was the E1 visa. And essentially, because I work with so many different companies, me working for one company didn't actually help me. So let's say, I shoot for Nike sometimes. Let's say Nike wanted to give me a visa here. They could, but then I couldn't work for anyone other than Nike. And that doesn't help me because I work with athletes and other people.
And if they fire you,
if they fire me, I'm out. I'm out of here. So I don't want to put that, my whole life in Nike like that, or any company really. So I was like, what options work for me as a full-time creator that works for so many different companies? And the E1 visa was a very unique visa, which allows me to work with any company I want in the United States but my company had to be incorporated. So I had to incorporate my Canadian company. And then with my incorporation, I basically hire myself under my own visa. So I'm working on my visa under my corporation. You understand? Instead of me, the other visas, for example, you're working under a visa for
would you
any other company.
As an entrepreneur or like a creator, that would, in your opinion, would that be the easiest route to go for that visa, or does it just depend on the person?
That's probably the hardest route to go.
Yeah.
So the route I went is probably the easiest route is getting companies to say, I like you, Tresor. I want you to be in the United States and work for us or create for us, whatever. This is the visa that we can offer you based on what you'll be doing for us, such and such, right? And then if you want to try different visas from there, at least get your first visa so you're in, you can work. I think that's the easiest one for a company to...
So you can have a visa and still apply for a different...
Yeah, well, you can apply for a different visa, but you still need a visa to even work for somebody. And then be like, okay, once you get here, let's say you want to work for other companies, you might change a visa and it's just another process again. But at least just get one so you can at least start and be here. Fine, like you're working for one company for the first time. Sure, but while you're here, you're still networking. You might not be able to work with other people, but you're here without being illegal. You know what I mean? So use the steps you can take. My visa, I had to prove a lot to the US government. Like I had to prove how much I've made over the last 4 years in Canada. I have to prove how much I made working with, and this is the part that's so fucking ridiculous. To get my visa, I had to have a certain amount of money that I made with US clients. But how do I make money with US clients without a visa?
Yeah.
Which means I had to essentially agree for them to go through my finances, proving that I worked illegally. Isn't that twisted? But it's okay once I'm applying for the visa part.
Yeah.
It's like it's so. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have to prove to them I have enough work or I had enough work in the United States to get this visa. Because they have to be like, why are we getting this visa? Well, I have these clients I work with. They want to do these projects. These are who I worked with in the past in the United States. They want to work like athletes, companies, whatever. They want to do more work together. But I'm applying for a visa to allow myself to work in the United States. But I have to admit that I've been working in the United States
See, I think
without the visa.
I think that's where it would vary for person to person, because in my case, a lot of, say, like brand deals I do are with American companies.
Right.
So technically I'm working.
But you're
I'm not
in
working
Canadian land.
in the States.
So that's fine.
I'm working for American
That's
companies.
fine,
So
though.
that would be okay.
That's fine. So
Yeah.
that's the thing.
That's different than
You
you
can
actually have to be here.
I'm admitting that I was in the United States going with this athlete to the All-Star game. I was filming, I'm admitting that, but it's okay within the parameters of the visa. But if I wasn't applying for a visa, that's illegal. It's like,
that's crazy.
But that's what I had to prove. So I had to give them all these details of stuff that I've been doing illegally, per se, in order to qualify to be legal. So, but in that process, it was a 9-month process for the visa.
Like from
application to actually getting it. So in those 9 months, I technically wasn't supposed to work. You understand what I'm saying? Did I work?
Or you were here or you went back home in the 9 months?
Huh?
Okay.
So I was, waiting for my visa. And every time I tried to come out here, it was fine until the last time I tried to come back. So I was actually out here. I had a wedding that was booked in Canada. And I was like, man, like I can't cancel on them. Like it's already booked. I'd been asked to cancel. You cancel your wedding photographer a week before I couldn't do that, you know? So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna handle it. So I'm gonna go back to Toronto real quick. I told him I was working with a client at the time and we were in the middle of a project. And I'm like, all right, I had this wedding that I had booked from like a year ago. I slipped my mind. I'm gonna go back to this wedding. I'll be back on Monday. Like, all right, man, go ahead. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Or we'll see you next week. I was like, yeah. In my mind, it seemed perfect. I was like, yes, go back on that wedding. Swing back to LA. I'm blessed. So I leave LA. I'm like, all right, take the flight on the Thursday, get back to Toronto. I shoot the wedding on the Friday. Had my flight. I stayed for the weekend. I had my flight to LA back booked on Monday. I'm like, all right, back to LA, back to work. Greasy. I'm chilling. Wait the rest of my visa while it gets processed. I'll be good. Nice. I get to the airport on the Monday, and unfortunately, I never take connecting flights, right? But the only flight at that time was a connecting flight, and I was like, it's not a big deal. Like, it's a connecting flight through Montreal, though, not a connecting flight through US, which means the first connecting flight, I'm still in Canada. If the connecting flight was in the United States, it'd be fine because you're
already there.
You're already there. Yeah. But it was a connecting flight within Canada, which fucked me. So in my mind, I didn't know anything. Like I've never had an issue before. So I was like, oh, connecting flight to Montreal, it's light. You know, whatever. Fly from Toronto to Montreal. When you're on a connecting flight, they take your bags off, right? To inspect before they put them back on again. Does that time out, by the way?
Yeah, like half an hour. Yeah.
No, that doesn't time out. Does your camera timed out?
Yeah, my camera times out at 30 minutes.
What's that right now? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm aware of that shit.
Yeah. Also, if you guys have questions, I remember you said you had like a couple questions, so just tell me after and I'll tell.
Yeah. So the flight from Toronto to Montreal is a connecting flight. And when I get there, in my mind, I'm still like, go back to LA. I'm in good spirits. I feel good. I'm ready to go back. And they take my bags off. And in my bags, I had my camera equipment. Like I had like tripods, Ronin, whatever. And I had my own carry-on stuff, right? And then my camera bag was on my actual back. So there's like a board that says your bags have been transferred, and that let you know to go to go through customs. I was like, okay, my bags are up there. Okay, cool. I get to the customs line and I get to the guy. He's like, where you going? I'm like, oh, Los Angeles. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm just going to see my cousin, which is true. Not entirely, but true. And I look on his screen and my bag's on his screen, like a picture of my bags. So I'm like, picture me.
I've never seen this before.
I've never seen. So picture me like looking at this guy.
Specific.
Picture me looking at him, trying to make eye contact with him. But then in the peripheral, I see a picture of my bags. I've never seen that in my life. So he's talking to me. He's like, so where you going? I'm like, LA. I'm looking at him, but like scanning the screen. I'm like, he's like, yeah. So how long are you going? I'm like, just 6 days. He's like, oh, okay. What's in your bags? And I look at them. I'm like, camera equipment. Because if I lie, they've been through it. If the picture's there, they know it's in it. There's no point. So I'm like, camera equipment. He's like, oh, so you're working? I'm like, no.
I just feel like, yeah. So I don't get that. Like, you can't finesse that. I'd be like, yeah, I'm a YouTuber, so I just bring my stuff everywhere.
They don't let that happen.
Really?
They actually block YouTubers now. They've been blocked.
What?
Yes. They put them in customs. They put them in secondary. You cannot tell them you do YouTube. I'm telling you. If they catch you the camera, you say you do YouTube and work, done. That's done. That's just dead. I'm telling you right now, that's just dead. Don't tell them I do YouTube.
That's my go-to.
I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now, do not say I do YouTube. That's just dead. I promise you. Especially at Pearson. Promise you. Anyway, I'm telling you right now, just remember what I said. Do not tell them I do YouTube.
That's my go-to.
All right. Just, hey.
So I'm not, okay.
I'm just letting you know.
So what? It's just visiting? Like, that's all you can say?
That's because that's all you're allowed. That's actually all you're actually allowed to do. You're visiting. You're actually only allowed to visit. That's technically
so that's crazy. So filming content, even if it's online, counts as work.
Influencers get pulled now with no equipment. I've seen influencers that are like, nah, you're done. Person's like, what? Because they know they're making money with their image or whatever. Customs is crazy now. So, anyways, he goes, you working? I'm like, oh, now I gotta make a lie because I'm like, no, I'm just helping my cousin has my cousin's friend has a wedding, and my cousin asked me because I don't want to say my cousin put him under the bus and make sure. Is he getting married?
So when are you getting married?
I didn't want to. So I'm like, my cousin's friend is getting married, and my cousin referred me, so I'm just helping out. He's like, right. I'll be right back. He takes my passport and walks.
Oh, it's over.
And I'm like,
once they leave, it's over.
If they leave, you're done. I'm like,
it's like when you get pulled over, the police car slaps the top of your car. Twice, says, hang tight. It's over. Yeah.
So he goes in the back, comes back. My passport. He's like, come in the back, whatever. And my flight's supposed to leave at maybe 7 o'clock, right? It's like 6:10 right now. So I'm like looking at the clock, and I'm just like, it's like 6:10, 6:20, 6:30. They still haven't called me in. So I'm like, excuse me. He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah. I'm like, am I gonna make my flight? He's like, oh no, definitely not.
Why are people at the airport so mean?
Bro.
I don't get it. They wake up angry. I've never seen a pleasant customs officer.
Never.
I don't know why.
Never.
They purposely just choose the meanest people for the job. I don't get it.
So I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay. He finally pulls me in. They take my record, take my fingerprints. Then
you thought you were going to jail.
Bro, I'm like this. I'm like, oh, what's this part for? He's like, oh, it's just for our records. I'm like, no, I know, but like, what's it? What records?
What records?
He's like, oh, it's just for us to have your records for this situation. I'm like,
what's the situation?
I was like, I know what that's for. I was like, okay, so now I'm printed. So,
did they make you hold the thing like forward and sideways?
No, just a print. So anyways, I get printed, and they're like, all right, well, so we think you're working United States, and it's legal, so we're not letting you in the United States today.
Hey, I'll just come back tomorrow then. I mean,
that's how I felt. That in my mind, that's what it meant. He's like, today. That's what he told me. He's like, you're not coming to the United States today. I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, is there a flight back to Toronto? No, that was the last flight out. So I have to stay in Montreal, bro. I have to get my own hotel. I'm like, are you guys paying for the hotel? No. I'm like, all right. So I book a new flight in the morning, first thing in the morning, from Montreal back to Toronto, and then from Toronto to LA. I'm like, you know what? Let me just fly from YYZ then. Fuck Montreal. I was like, you know, it must be a Montreal thing. Like, these French people are probably just feeling away.
People are just mad.
Yeah, so
they hating because I'm going to LA.
Yeah, so I'm like, must be a French thing. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, cool. pay for the hotel, take the first 6 a.m. flight back to Toronto, and I have a flight from Toronto to LA now at like 10 a.m., right? I get to Pearson, get to the line, get to customs.
I said, nigga, we ain't just talked to you yesterday. I said, I know that ain't who I think it is.
You see where this is going?
I know that ain't who I think it is. We ain't just talked to you about this yesterday.
So I get to the customs line, and I'm in Toronto now. And I get to the line. He goes, "So where you going?" I'm like, "LA." I'm sticking to my story. What are you doing? I'm like, "Oh, I can see my cousin." "How like going?" I'm like, 6 days. "What's in your bag?" I'm like, "Oh, equipment." "Okay." "What happened in Montreal yesterday?" I'm like, "Huh?" It's like, "What happened in Montreal yesterday?" I was like, "Oh, Montreal." oh, they
like, you know where you just came from. I said, oh, like you didn't just get there. Oh,
oh, Montreal.
I thought you said Montana. I haven't been there in years.
Oh my God. So I'm like, oh, Montreal, right. They were saying that they thought I was working, but I was telling them I wasn't. I was
simple misunderstanding. You know, he probably just...
I was like, he thought I was working, so I was telling him like I'm not actually working, and they thought I was working.
It's more of a passion project.
He goes, right. Let's see you in the back real quick. I'm like, so he pulls me in the back. I'm waiting there. Deja vu. My flight's supposed to leave at 10. It's like 9:20. Look at the clock. Look at the watch. 9:30. 9:45. I'm like,
sir,
excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah. My flight's at 10. Oh, you're not making that.
So, and I know you're not getting reimbursed
for
any of these flights.
No.
That's just spending money for no reason.
I want to get back to LA. I have work. I have literally just left a project. I'm like, I'll be back next week. Like, I had actual work.
And if you bought a flight to LA same day or next day,
bro, these are expensive.
Yeah.
These are expensive. So I'm like, oh, what? Why? How come I can't? He's like, I'll be with you in a second when we call your name. So it's like, they wait till like my flight's almost done. So like 10:05, I'm like, that flight's obviously gone. Ryan, come up. Calls me up. He goes, so why are you back here? I'm like, what? He's like, I saw your file. It says the customs officer in Montreal said we weren't letting you through. I was like, oh, but he said that day. He's like, oh, you thought we'd be different? I'm like, I didn't realize, like, does that mean I can't like come at all? He's like, well, whatever they said still goes here. Same customs. I'm like, okay, well, just so I understand. I'm like, when can I try this again? He's like, give it some time. I'm like,
what's that mean?
I'm like, okay, but like when? What does that look?
Like,
what does that look like?
Like a Jamaican mother. Like what does that mean? That doesn't give me a time frame.
He goes, when's the wedding? Because I told him I had the wedding. I was like, the wedding is October 26th, right? I think it was October, yeah, something like that. So I was like, the 21st, that was happening. So I was like, the wedding's, I just made up a date. I was like, October 26th. He's like, so probably after that wedding. And I'm like, so you're gonna miss the wedding? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. So what do? I book a flight October 27th, thinking I'm smart. No, an idiot. So I book another flight October 27th. I wait in Toronto for a week. The whole week I'm miserable. I'm just like, fuck, pissed. Not going out, not talking to no one, just depressed. Just want to go back to LA. Just sulking for 7 days. Just like, yo.
Counting down.
Bro, counting down, bro. The date comes, October 27th comes. Now I'm anxious. Because now I'm like, I think this plan's gonna work, but I don't know if it's not foolproof. I think I'm smart. But I'm like, they might say something. I get back to customs. Now I'm like sweating on the inside. Like now I feel like now I'm in the line. And now that I've never had to panic before, but now I feel panic. I've been stopped twice now. And I'm like, oh, what if it doesn't work? Like, I don't know, like whatever. I get to the customs line.
I know that ain't who I think it is.
You know what's funny? They gave me hope. I get to the customs line and it's a nice guy. I've never had a nice guy at customs. So there's the
You thought you had it.
There's this little piece of hope. I was like, oh my God, thank you. I get the customs line. He's like, hey man, what's going on? I'm like, oh,
hello,
shit.
good sir.
So I'm like, oh shit, we got a good one.
You thought you were good. Came to the airport in a 3-piece suit, everything.
So I'm like,
top hat.
So I'm like, oh, I got a nice in my head. I'm like, yo, I got a nice one. I might be blessed. He's like, how you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm good. He's like, oh, what's going on? I'm like, where you going? I'm like, I'm going to LA. He's like, oh, I love LA. I'm like, yeah, me too. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, what are you doing out there? I'm like, oh, I was gonna see my cousin. Oh, nice. Oh, I'm like, nah, man. He's like, oh, it says. I'm like, nah, man, come on. He's like, it says I gotta bring you to the back. I'm like,
oh,
I'm like,
God.
no. I'm like, what happened was last week there was a situation where they thought. He's like, I thought I was working and like it was a misunderstanding. The wedding was actually yesterday, so I missed the wedding. So I'm actually just going to see my cousin just to kind of see them now. He's like, you know what? Completely understand. That happens all the time. I'm sure if you explain that to the guys in the back.
Oh, no. The guys in the back are not nice. Like, sir, no. Can we just do this here? The guys in the back are never nice. They're the meanest ones. That's why they put them in the back to break you down.
I'm sure if you just explain that to the guys in the back, you'll be right on your way.
Like, no,
I was like, in my mind, I'm like, you just killed me, sir.
That's like that. That's like that person, like where the hoodmans are pressing you, and that person's like, just talk to them and explain the situation.
They just don't get it.
These are not reasonable
They're
guys.
not reasonable people. Stop acting like it's normal.
These are not normal human beings. So you can't reason with them.
So I go to the back room now that I do the fucking walk of shame. Like that fucking, oh my God, I've seen these doors so many times. You know the fucking doors that person? Those people get called through? The doors, they open on their own. I'm like, so I get to the back room again. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, just depressed, bro. I'm scared. I'm just like, yo, this is it for me. Especially because I'm like, I saw one of the guys that I saw the week before.
He remembers?
But I didn't get him, but I saw him. I was like,
you?
I'm like, if I get him, I'm done. Because he actually seen me before. So I get called up. My flight's coming up. Same thing. I look at the clock. I'm like, all right. But they call me early this time. They call me up. They're like, so what's going on? I'm like, I had a wedding situation last week. The wedding was yesterday, blah, blah, explain the situation. They're like, okay, so what do you think we're going to do? And I'm like, what? I'm like, I was told I couldn't come back because they thought I was working. But the wedding was yesterday. They're like, okay. And how do you know you're not working today or something next week? And I'm like, because I'm not. They're like, would you believe you if I
mean, like, well, I mean, given the circumstances, I probably would believe
They go, would you believe you if you were me? I was like, yeah. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, the wedding was yesterday, you said I couldn't make it. He's like, hang tight. I'm like, can I talk to somebody? Like, he's like, you want to talk to somebody? I'm like, yeah, can I talk to somebody like your boss? He's like, you are my boss.
Because he's worse than me.
It's she. It was a she. So I'm desperate. So I'm like, can I talk to anybody? He's like, you want my boss? Like the way they asked it, like he's like, he knows that.
Are
like,
you sure you want to do that?
Yeah. Like, he's like, oh, you want mine? I'm like, yeah. Like at this point, I'm like, I'll take anything. He's like, okay, hang tight. I'll go get her. This old Jamaican lady comes out. Didn't give me the time of day, bro. She comes out. She's like,
sir, you are not going,
bro. She comes up. She's like, he's sitting there and she's like over his shoulder like a mom. So like he's there, he's like, he asked for you. So I'm just like, oh, this nigga is like he's like,
I don't know, but low key, I would have thought that maybe since it's a Jamaican lady, I might have some.
Bro, and he's
like,
black too.
Auntie,
bro, he's black too. I thought I had in the bag.
I'm from Jamaica too.
No.
Auntie, I'm just like,
no. She comes out. She's like, so what's going on? I'm like, the situation happened. Explain it again. What'd he say? I'm like, he looked at me like, I'm like, he said I couldn't go. Whatever he says, say to me, I'm telling you. Anything else? I'm like, is there any like way to solve this?
Or like, can you
like,
tell
is there
me
anything
when
like,
I
is there anything she's like, give us some time.
What does that mean?
Walks away. So I go to the guy, I'm like, now I'm desperate. I'm just like, I know I'm not making this flight, right? It's my third time being blocked. So I'm like, bro, what do I do? Like, what do I do? He's like, honestly, man, I feel for you. I do. But I can't. Like, I don't believe you. I want to believe you, but I don't. And he's like, and you know what? What's in your bag right now? I'm like, huh? He's like, what's in your bag right now?
Bag right
He's like, what's in your bag right now? I'm like, camera equipment. Right.
Yo. Nah.
I didn't, because I wasn't planned, like my dumb ass, I just wanted to get there. So I keep bringing the same stuff because I'm like, I don't know how else to get there. So
you
anyway,
gotta send it by sea.
So I end up staying in Toronto for 3 months. Lost $15,000 in projects here.
Damn. So you were just traumatized to try again.
I was scared. I was just scared. I didn't try for 3 months until January last year. So this was October. So all of October, all of November didn't go. All of December didn't go. And I'm like, let me try in the new year. Like maybe it's New Year. And I initially had my flight booked, right? In January. I was still booming because I'm just like, what if they're like, it's still not enough? Well, you know what I mean? So I go to my friend's house and I tell him the story. And he's like, oh, like, why don't you just come with me? And I'm like, what you mean? He's like, oh, like I drive back and forth to the States all the time. And I'm like, I was like, okay. So I canceled my flight. And I'm like, well, they're going to check the car, obviously, for stuff because I keep traveling my equipment. So I have a friend who worked for a shipping company. Pack up all my shit, bro. Ship all my stuff to my boy out here. We do the drive. They stop us, pull us over in Detroit.
Sweating at the border.
Sweating. But I was also like, I have nothing on me. So I'm like, there's nothing, you know what I mean? So like what happened back in October? I told them whatever. What's in the car right now? I'm like, nothing. I'm gonna go check. I was like, all right.
Go ahead.
Goes through everything.
It up.
He rips it up, goes through everything. He comes back. He's like, how long are you going for? I'm like, 2 days. He's like,
I bet COS back.
He goes, all right. He goes, have a good trip. We get through. I booked my flight, and I just lay low in LA until my visa got finished. That's literally what I did, bro.
By lay low, you mean like you didn't really work, or you just like you didn't travel?
I never came back to Canada.
Yeah.
I had stuff booked in Canada. I had to cancel everything. People had things booked. I had to cancel my best friend's wedding, bro.
Damn.
I had my best friend's wedding booked, and I'm like, I can't do it. Like that was one. I'm like, fuck. Like, but I'm like, this is bigger than. Not to say it's bigger than his wedding, but you know what I'm saying? But it is. Like, I'm like, this is
my livelihood.
If I go back to Canada, I'm cooked. Like, it was like one of those things like, I can't move until this visa's finished. So, yeah, I waited and my visa got finished in the summertime. And that's a long-winded story. But fuck, yeah, like, that's what happened.
Damn, that's crazy. So, when you got out here, obviously, you said you were staying with your family and whatnot. Mm-hmm. How long after did you decide to get your own spot?
About 4 months.
Did you have your visa first before you got your spot, or you were able to get one without it?
Nah.
That's not like for people that want to move, or like, because they do stuff like what's it called? Sublease.
Yeah, like stuff? So for me,
is there a way to do it without having like a
yes?
Like, say I wanted to come here for 4 months, could I get a place?
You could. I mean, but they would ask you like, you know, what you're doing. You know, you have to show whatever projects you have, whatever. And it depends on the landlord. Like the place I'm at now, I didn't have my visa, but my visa process was starting. So I had all the paperwork that I gave to the lawyers and stuff. So I basically gave that to them. So I was like, I'm gonna get this. This is what I do, blah, blah. And they trusted me. But like they could have been like, nah. You know what I mean? It's just, it's hit and miss based on the person. I'll just say keep trying. And based on what the requirements say, like some of them say must show U.S. citizenship, must show, you know, proof of this. Like if they're really strict, then no. But if it's like a small little place you're looking for a check, it'll probably take you.
Can you tell us how much you pay for rent?
Yes, rent here is $2,500 US. So that converts to like 33 every month.
Damn.
33 Canadian at least every month right now. It's expensive.
That is expensive.
It is. No, it is expensive.
For a 1 bedroom.
It's
two. No, technically 2.
It's a 2-bedroom. That's a whole. That's not that. That's my office.
For a 2-bedroom, that's not that.
2-bedroom.
And this is a nice like.
Yeah, 2-bedroom, a den, kitchen, fully furnished, parking.
In downtown. In the grand scheme, that's downtown. Expensive, but in like
where I am,
it's not.
Yeah, it's not bad for where I am, but it's $3,300 Canadian once you convert that.
Like if you tell that to like your parents, like they're having a hard
time.
Like
it's up there. 100%.
So are you an advocate for having all of that money saved up already, or are you like a take your chances? Say I got this apartment for 3,300.
Mm-hmm.
I had
25.
2,500
what
USD.
It's if you're getting paid here, then that's your
2,500. Yeah. Say I got this apartment for 2,500. I have $7K in my whole account. Would you say don't get that place, or are you like an advocate of, you know what, just try a thing and make it work?
I mean, that question is dependent on what your plan is once you get here. Like if you're like, okay,
I'm a creator. I don't necessarily.
No. When I say plan, I mean like, okay, so you have the 7K, cool.
Yeah,
you can pay first and last rent, so you actually get the place, cool.
And maybe I have enough for like the next month.
1 month, sure.
Like a 1 month,
cool. I would say, do you have at least some type of contingency plan that there's at least one client you know that can cover at least rent at the bare minimum? Is there a client here that can at least cover rent
consistently, or for that?
I mean,
time period?
I'm okay. I'll give you the real.
Yeah, I'm saying it as based off of like someone who was in my position, or a creator. I'm gonna give you like, you're not necessarily like.
I'm gonna give you the real because I'm gonna give you the real based on my life. I can speak on my life. I would do that shit because I'm fucking wild, and I know for a fact that I don't break under pressure.
I'm the same way.
So for me, I'm like, if I can get it and I can be there, all right, just get me there. Just put me in the room. Just put me somewhere. I'm gonna go get it. That's me though. Would I advise other people that are not like that? No, because it's a very tough life. It's a very anxious life. It could be very rewarding, but you have to be someone that's willing to take that chance on yourself. Because absolutely something I've learned since I've been here is timing is so important, bro. Because let's just say you wait till the situation's perfect and you have your 30 racks in your account, let's say, in 8 more months from that. Those 8 months, you could have missed 8 months of opportunities that no longer
could have made 200 racks.
But you don't know, right? You have no idea because you're playing safe or whatever. Like it really comes down to how you're built, bro. I don't have a perfect answer. It's honestly how you're built because I do that shit. Yeah. I've done that shit. I've taken chances where I'm just like, I don't know where shit's gonna come from, but I'm fucking going. I don't know how I'm gonna what I'm gonna do when I get there, but I'm gonna go. Like that's me because I know once I'm there what I can do. You know? I didn't come out to LA to go chill and party. I came out here, I was like, network. Every day that I was out here, I was doing something. So like, I'm gonna find something. I'm telling you right now.
You can do that.
So for me, it's like, you can't come here and be like, all right, I'm chilling every day. Like if I'm here, if I take a chance like that, every day I better be on it until I get what I need. You know, and that's what I've been since I got here, you know? So for that type of question, I think if it's based on how you're built. If you have a plan for yourself and you believe in yourself and you trust that if you can get somewhere, you'll get it done, do it. If you're worried that I don't know, then bro, it's not for you. You know, I've never been worried about will I make it in LA? I've never had that cross my mind. I've had projects that I've like real life right now. I've had contracts that fucked me over, bro. Like here, since I've been here, that we're supposed to do certain things, pulled out, broke the contract, whatever. And there's certain people that I'm like, what am I gonna do? Sue you? Like,
yeah,
like you just have to eat it. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, oh, I use like.
And companies know that, bro.
Not companies. I mean, like clients. Not for, like,
well, people in general, they know that.
They know.
Even with companies, they're trying to pay you.
What are you gonna do? Sue me?
30, net 60. Yeah. They're super breaking that.
No,
but
what
are you gonna do?
But I mean, like, I'm talking about like there's certain things I had set up here that were covering certain expenses that fucked me over, and I was like, all right, well, that's gone. What are you gonna do now? You know what I mean? So it's not like it's been all cushion. Like I had certain things that were pretty comfortable and fucked me over. And I was like, all right, well, you're here. So what are you going to do? Just fucking complain? So it forced me to think of other things. I designed the game. That came out of me figuring other shit. You know what I mean? Like it forces it. If you're built a certain way, we will find a way, bro. You'll find a way. And that it's not something I can even give you like a perfect route. It's just like you either have it or you don't. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think you're creative enough that like if you're throwing the fire and someone's like, bro, you have 30 days. You have 30 days to make a cake. Figure it out. Yeah. You're like, all right,
And that's
30 days to think about it? 30 to me, I'm like 30 days to think about how, okay.
Yeah. And it's crazy because like, technically speaking, I'm the same way where I work well under pressure also. So in a way, I'm kind of like, why would I not just be like that always?
If that's your best work.
If that's my best work. But it's like you can't, but it's like you can't really work like that. For instance, like say if I was here and it was in that situation and I had no bread, in my mind, I'd be like, all right, no matter how long it takes me, I'm posting a YouTube video every day and I'm posting an Instagram video every day. And
no matter what.
But why don't I just do that already?
So here's the thing.
Like adversity like makes you.
Here's the thing, and I'll answer that as an athlete, and you're an athlete yourself as well. Why do good teams lose to bad teams?
Variety of things. Maybe they were just off that night. Sometimes you played down to
like
competition, or you kind of just get lazy.
That's the answer I'm looking for. Say it again.
You play down to the competition.
Say it one more time. Listen to what you're saying.
Play down to the competition.
So why do you not make a video every day? Blah blah blah. Because you're playing down to the competition. Because everyone else is not doing that every fucking day. So you're like, all right, well, we're going to do it. Like, that's what's happening.
The state that you're in is.
It's the state that you're in. If you're not seeing that shit around you, then you're like do it every day. Like, I'm already better than these niggas. You know what I mean? So it's not the right mentality, but that's I'm being real with you. That's what happens. I've fallen into it sometimes. Just like, I'm not gonna do it every day. Like, but when you got to, you're gonna do it. So when you're in the finals, you're like, I don't normally dive for that for that loose ball, but
I'm gonna do it today.
I'm gonna do it. So like the goal is to get to a point where that is now a norm. You know, and I think being in LA has created that to be my daily norm. Truthfully. Leaving the competition in Toronto was me playing down the competition, was me living in Toronto, was playing down the competition. I'm truthfully better than a lot of people in Toronto, and you know that. Yeah. But I was around this level, so I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna just there is no fucking game in Toronto. I didn't design that back there. I designed when I came here. Yeah. I didn't create, like, there's stuff I did once I got here. There's a lot of things I'm doing now once I got here because I'm not around that competition anymore. Yeah, the competition is now everyone above me. So movie theaters, it's way bigger. So I'm like, I'm playing up. I'm forced. Yeah. My rent is fucking expensive. How you gonna I'm forced.
So it's like you used to drop 20 points a game at home, but no one else would drop over 5. So you're just feeling like you're the man. But you come here and everyone's an All-American. So now you really gotta.
What's 20? Everyone's dropping 20.
Yeah,
I gotta go 50. And
every day is the final. Every
day is a 50-point game. You got to. Yeah. You know, so I think for someone like you, someone like me, someone like, you know, TC Twist, like, you put yourself or have to put yourself in an environment that will pull a different level out of you. Mm-hmm. Or else it never will come, but it's very difficult to come when you're not surrounded by that. It's just that's just life.
You have to be around it.
It's just life. It's why, you know, NBA kids are going to the NBA because their dad's a fucking leaguer.
You saw it.
It's not because that kid is way better than other kids in the world. It's just my dad's in the NBA. So
and you know what
the hell?
To be done.
Your dad's not in the NBA. So no matter how good you train, your dad's not in the league. Yeah. So I'll get better than you because I'm working to this guy. It's just that's just how it is.
That makes complete sense.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not really even about opportunity. It's more of environment, honestly. The environment you're in, the fires you put yourself through, the things you jump through, the things that you're forced to get through is really what breaks you out of that box. So I felt that within myself. That's why I wanted to move, honestly. I felt like I got to a point in Toronto where I was like, bro, I don't feel like I'm like
a glass ceiling.
Yeah, I just didn't feel like I'm like, there's more to me than like just doing that. Shot with the Raptors a couple times, shot some friends, shot these parties, the same people, the same thing over. And I'm just like, I just was like, yo, like, there's so much more than me. Like, I didn't know what it was yet, but I'm just like, this doesn't feel like it to me, you know? And then when I did take these trips to LA, I'm just like, there it is. Like, I'm like, there's something.
You got the refresh.
Something, but it was only for like a little bit. It was only for like a week, 3 days, 3 months, or however long I stayed. And I was just like, what if that was all year? That's what I started to think. I'm like, what if that was all year round? Every year. For like years and years. I'm like, bro, I'll get to another level by default. Like, just because I'm constantly at that level, operating at a level like every day, seeing, you know, the best cinematographers, the best filmmakers, seeing their work every day out there. I'm like, I have no choice I have no choice. So that's what's really been pushing me. And then like obviously on that plus our own ambition. Like it's just, you know, just twofold.
So to wrap it up, what would be your advice to someone who maybe is stopped by the doubt in themselves, who are trying to make it out of their city or to take that step to go somewhere else, kind of like what you did?
I would definitely say start paying attention to the signs, first of all. Because like anything, especially like, for example, when I quit my job, like, you know when you're ready to quit. You know when you're ready to leave. Like, no one can tell you that. People can be like, oh, you should quit your job. If you're not ready to quit, you ain't you ain't quitting. Someone's like, oh, you should leave. If you're not ready to leave, then it doesn't matter what someone say, oh, come to LA. You're like, I ain't ready to do that yet. So all the external stuff is pointless. But pay attention to your own signs, like how you feel when you're creating, how you feel when you're doing what you're doing, or how you feel when you're home, how you feel when you're with your friends. Like, does that feel comfortable to you, or do you feel uncomfortable? And when I say uncomfortable, I mean like, are you tired of that dynamic? You know, are you tired of this? Where those goes?
The ghetto birds in the sky,
bro. There's like sometimes they fly like army jets, bro. You seen like the big tankers, bro, nigga, and they're loud, bro. You seen them, right? I'm like, war is coming. No, for real. No, I'm not joking. War. No, I'm not joking. There's war tankers. Like, you seen them, right? No, like the big low tank ones, right?
Those ones too, bro. I've seen those ones, the fighter ones, and the ones with the two propellers.
Yes. I'm like the Call of Duty. I'm telling you, bro. Words come. I'm not even ha. Like, they fly over here at like 2 a.m. and all you hear is. I'm like, what is that? It's big tankers in the sky. I'm like, what are you doing flying at this hour? You're flying. You think everyone's sleeping? Like, whatever you're doing. They're
trying to do it at night.
Yeah, they're doing. I'm awake because I'm up.
Forgetting we're just leaving to go to the party.
Like, yeah,
we're
like,
up,
bro. Anyways, all right. Yeah, like, start paying attention to the signs, because once only you will know when it's time for you to change your environment. I feel like that's the biggest answer and the first start to whatever's next for you. I started going to events, I started going to parties, I started shooting stuff, and I was just like, this ain't it no more. Like, it's just, but you have to feel that. No one can make you feel that. If you on your own feel like what you're doing that you love is no longer stimulating you, you need to leave for you, you know? And no one can put that feeling in you. And I think the biggest thing that people are scared of doing is starting. So how many niggas you heard talk about, oh, I can't wait to go to Miami, can't wait to go here? Have you made any steps? Like, have you done any research? Have you done anything? Have you even gone to Miami for the first time yet? Nah, I'm gonna go. It's like, do the steps. Go to these places you want to go to as a vacation. Check it out. See what the environment is like, the economy is like. Check prices of things. Like, if you actually wanted to do something, you have to make real action, like real steps that give you some data and feedback, you know? Before I came out here, I was out meeting people. I'm like, okay, what's the climate like? Like, what type of environments? What's the areas like? Okay, where are the black places? Where are the places that, like, I was learning these things before. So now that I came out here, I'm like, okay, this is where I go. This is where I go. Like, just start researching things that matter to you. And I feel like I was saying earlier, like, you have to have a little bit of crazy in you if you really want to get crazy goals, bro. Like, it's not for the weak. It really is not. Like, being an entrepreneur, being a full-time creative, or any creative, really, like, to get to the level that you see these people at, you know, the Will Smiths and all these guys and all these celebrities that you've ever heard of, bro, they don't just get there. Like, we all see, like, and it sounds cliche because everyone's like, yeah, I know, but, like, you have to remind yourself that they didn't just get there. Like, a lot of work went into becoming the best at any field these people are in. And if you're not willing to put that work in, then just admit that to yourself. But if you are, take those chances, bro. And I think, like I said about timing, like, if I didn't leave Canada when I left, I would have missed so much stuff, honestly. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that really brings me peace is like, yeah, I got blocked those 3 times and like all this shit was going on and blah, blah. But if I didn't keep at it, bro, like, because as soon as I got here, I got this contract and I worked with this other person and I met this person, and everything happens for a reason and lined up a certain way. If I didn't try again in January, if I was like, nah, I'm scared, let me wait it out, like, then the game's not even designed. We can go back as far as that, bro. If I didn't leave Canada when I left, I didn't even design that game. Because when I got here, my camera stuff wasn't here yet. So I had like free time to like just think. And I designed the game when I had no camera stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if I, like, everything, you just need to go and take those chances and try and do it when you feel it. Because I believe in feelings and science and energy and God or whatever you want to believe in. But like, if you feel something, you have to act on it, bro. There's not just coincidence like, oh, you guys came to LA the time you came. Like, I don't know, you guys in the meet, you guys it's Grammy week, you might bump someone on the way. Like, you guys came when you came and just process that. You know what I mean? I came when I came, and when I did, the things are aligned. This whatever this goes, whoever sees this, when they watch this, they watched it at that moment, and that might spark, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything is lined up a certain way. Like, so whatever you feel, whoever's listening to this, whatever you feel after watching this video, like, act on it, you know? And that's honestly the best thing I could tell you people, truthfully.
Bet. Shout out to Ryan. Make sure you look at the First Date game. It's out now. I'll put the link to all of his socials down below, the link to the description for the game as well. This was a very informative video, y'all.
Dope, bro.
I don't really do a lot of sit-down videos anymore, but I might bring it back because I do know a lot of people that are doing a lot of cool things. So I think you guys should be able to see that as well. So yeah, shout out to you, gang. We're out. That's it.